Hello there, how are you? Welcome to Revelation. Little fun fact, did you know that there are 10 specific Bible verses about God being in control? Now it's kind of funny, so often we end up losing sight of that. We try over and over and over to control things in our lives rather than put things in God's hands and allow Him to control it for us. The one Bible verse that I'm reminded of is John 14:27. It says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." You know, sometimes it's really tough to remember those words. And I'm reminded of one time I was going to work. I was a young adult. I lived up in the state of Michigan, and I worked way out in the country at a convenience store. There had been a pretty heavy storm the night before, and the roads were fairly iced up. And as I'm driving, minding my own business, all of a sudden the car just started fishtailing for no reason whatsoever. It did not make sense. It was not logical. And headed at me from the opposite direction was a big old giant trash truck. And it was funny, the more I tried to get the car under control, it seemed like the worse the reaction of the vehicle, typical overreaction, I guess you could say. The really weird part of it all is about the time I thought, oh crap, I'm getting ready to hit, I just kind of was holding on, waiting for the impact. The car actually righted itself, ended up back in my lane of traffic, and the trash truck went past me. Now let me tell you, by the time I had reached work, my legs were still shaking. I still had that real funky metal taste in my mouth, lightheaded. And I know it was only by the grace of God that that car regained control. I honestly have no clue how it happened, but it was pretty intense, and to this day I can still remember it so clearly. You know, it's kind of like what we're going through in today's environment. There is so much anxiousness. You know, people are so troubled by the out of control governments of the world, the out of control extremists that we have in the world, the out of control religious entities that we have in the world. And I think we need to just let ourselves go back, find that peace, and remind ourselves that if we give that control over to God, I think that He will give us that emotional peace that we need. And yeah, I know it's easier said than done, and sometimes it takes like some serious heavy-duty concentration on it. It's almost like when my son was little, sometimes I would just find myself at my wit's end. I was just like, oh my gosh, what in the world? I'd be almost like raging. Just, there was no peace within me. And I would go out and sit on my back porch, and I would just sit down and talk to God and ask Him, you know, please help me. Show me what you want. Show me what you want me to do. I'm just at my wit's end. And it was the strangest sense of calm that would come over me, and that peace would come in me. And what seemed hopeless, or you know, had me so troubled, so anxious, so filled with anxiety, so stressed out, all of a sudden was just like, okay, yeah, we can handle this. Together we can handle this. So that's basically, you know, kind of my focus today. All the different things going on in the world, all the different weather reports of these, intense weather anomalies, the current events with the Red Sea turning red, and now they're saying, oh, it may just be an algae bloom or whatever. It's all just coming around. It's coming around big time, and it's going to be a matter of us truly having that faith in God, trusting in God, going in and looking at those Bible verses that specifically tell us to remember that God is in control. Kind of like Stella here. Stella was slated to have 4 puppies. And by the time it was all said and done, she actually delivered 9 healthy little Shepsky pups. I never planned that. Who would have ever thought? Again, it just shows God is in control. You can go to the vet, you can get your x-rays, you can do all the due diligence that you think is right. And what is going to happen is definitely going to happen. So with that being said, I intended to keep one of her pups. And my son was adamant about, I do not want a puppy, I do not want a puppy, I do not want a puppy. Long story short, I had a dream that he actually kept a puppy, and he named that puppy Bastion. And he came in from work one day, and I said, hey, you going to pick up your puppy? And he goes, what are you talking about? I go, Bastion. And he goes, Bastion? What? Did I tell you that? No, I had a dream that you were going to keep one of the puppies and you were going to name that puppy Bastion. So yeah, he kept Bastion. And as you'll notice in this video coming up here towards the end, we kind of come in here. You can see Stella looking off there towards the door. And it's because I went out back and I found one of her puppies that she had had on the back patio about an hour or so prior to this portion of the video. Now, we brought this puppy in, we cleared the amniotic sac off of her, we dried her off, got her warm, and she lived. And we gave her the name Grace. And it was because we felt it was only the grace of God that she survived all that. She turned out to be an absolutely cool little pup. She's very energetic, independent. And again, it just shows that we are no more in control than a man on the moon. We have to put our faith and trust in God and know that God is in control. And when we lose sight of that, maybe it's time to just sit down and have a heart-to-heart with Him. It's amazing when you just expose yourself to Him and tell Him what's going on in your heart, how He'll take over and He'll give you that peace. Alrighty then. I want to thank you all for stopping by. Have an absolutely and wonderful, blessed week. I'll see you next week on Revelation. Take care.